Commanders, welcome back to the port. For what, unfortunately, I must tell you is the final day of Fleet Week. It's Monday. The Kansas did not come out of early access. Therefore, I cannot bring you a video review of it. We're looking at the Georgia, the current campaign ship. Our commander for this build, the newly promoted Willis Lee. Base trait, don't let it spill, lessens flooding damage, a meaningless reduction in damage con reload time. He is inspired by Mikhail Kedrov and Paolo di Rebel. For this build, we chose Not the One for Nuisance in row number 1, Crisscross in row 2, Firefighter in row 3, Master Mechanic in row 4, and our legendary skill is Will to Rebuild. Taking a look at the Georgia Tier 7 Premium Battleship, here are the upgrades. AA Guns Mod 2, Steering Gears Mod 2, Target Acquisition System Mod 1, and Main Battery Mod 3. Yes, I know my choices may run off the beaten path. I accept that. As well as my choice of commander. Look, you can't put Billy Sims in every battleship, folks. Looking at the loadout, 4 charges of the repair party. Oh my God, I'm using a spotter plane. And 2 charges of the engine boost. We are running the Epic Battle Booster, which increases our main gun range, movement speed, and reduces reload time of those consumables. We've got the permanent Type 9 camouflage and the Independence Day 21 flag. I hope you had a great Independence Day. I think I got 5 hours of sleep last night. All right, 63,000 hit points with a 32% torpedo damage reduction with this build. We've got 2 rifle turrets. The firing range 17.7 kilometers. They reload in 21.6 seconds. They turn in 32 seconds. The HE shells do a piddly 6,450 damage with a 43% fire chance. The AP shells do 15,750 damage. You've got 10 twin 127 secondaries, firing range 5 kilometers, reload every 6 seconds. The HE shells do 1,800 damage with a 5% fire chance. All right, AA defense 99 with the AA mod. Your secondaries do count as AA. Necessary in today's game, necessary for this build, in my opinion. All right, looking at the next column, maneuverability, 34 knots speed with that speed boost flag. The turning circle's 890 meters, not so great. The rudder shift is 13.2. And our concealment, 14.8 kilometers on the surface, 12.4 in the air, 15 kilometers even when firing in smoke. Let's look at the armor viewer. I believe this is going to be very similar armor, so to speak. You've got a heavy belt at the top and the front of your citadel. It is below water. You are prone to plunging fire damage, in my opinion. You've got a 32 millimeter bow, but I would consider this ship not as heavily armored. Your torpedo reduction belt. You do have heavily armored turret faces and stacks that the turrets rest on, but these faces are not as slanted as other ships that precede it lower down in the tech tree. You know, I'm not an armor expert, casemate armor, superstructure armor, blah, 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 whatever. It's not as heavily armored as some of the other ships, in my opinion. All right, so I know my choice of Lee, and certainly my mod choices may not be for everyone. The thought process behind that, it's a fast battleship. I want to treat it like the Champagne. You should watch my Champagne video, Bad Vintage. I'll hopefully remember to put the link up in here. But I intend to use this ship to keep moving around the battlefield, using our good guns to impose punishment upon the enemy. I will have to say this isn't my best match so far. Quick review, we're on the Atlantic, sixes and sevens. We are top tier. Much to my chagrin, no aircraft carriers. The best match I had, and I don't know the names of the maps, is another map like this, except it had four capture circles. Like the enemy starts with one, you start with one, then A and D are open for business. I had 3 kills in that game, 2 Iowas and a Colorado. Um, used my maneuverability to go from the D cap all the way back across and come in the enemy cap from the port side to kill that Iowa and then immediately reload and turn around and kill the Colorado. I was so excited after I recorded that and then looked and realized I actually hadn't hit record. So unfortunately, I can't bring you that game, which I think really showcased the flexibility and the benefits to doing a movement build with the ship. So we're just gonna have to settle for this one. It, I think in a domination match, in a match with aircraft carriers, not I can't believe I'm saying this, but we have strong AA. You want an aircraft carrier because that's one less ship that is going to be shooting big, heavy rounds of AP at you that can pen your armor. And yeah, yes, they have AP bombs, they have HE bombs, they have torpedoes. Yes, I understand that. That's where your speed is going to come in handy because you're going to be able to dodge them. Unlike some of the other battleships, eventually they will pick a target that's easier to hit than you. So I know this build is controversial. We are about to shoot at the Ochakov here. And clearly I did not aim properly. I also want to mention in my playthroughs with this build, probably about 10 to 15, probably more like 10. In a quarter of the matches, yeah, it wasn't good at all. I got focus fired right at the beginning because I'm a campaign ship and they think I'm a whale who bought out the campaign. I did buy out the campaign. It only cost me about 5 grand. Um, so that happened in about a quarter of the matches. About 50% of the matches, I got between 70 and 85,000 damage. Some of those were good, but they weren't worth presenting here as a video. And then in about a quarter of them were the ones like I was telling you about, where I really used my speed and flexibility to dominate the battle space. Speaking of dominating the battle space, we just messed up in Iowa a Citadel, and we are going for Citadel number 2 coming right up. Look how quickly the Georgia turns. I dare say only a battle cruiser can turn like that. And that's what I'm treating the Georgia as a battle cruiser. And I really like the ship before it, the North Carolina. I said before it, they're not in the same tech tree. But it seems to me, if I could really quickly continue to complain about the tech tree arrangement, um, I really feel that Wargaming should have made that second line of battleships more different from the original line of battleships, maybe by having these fast battleships in a line together. And I'm not saying the Georgia shouldn't have been a premium ship, but you got the North Carolina. Maybe that should have been followed by the Iowa, because the Kansas is a advancement of the Colorado class. Somehow the Colorado leads to the Iowa. The Kansas, a refinement of the Colorado class, comes from the North Carolina. Just saying. Also, there's virtually no difference between the Tier 5 battleships except their names. And Tier 4, there are minute differences, mostly dealing with AA. But I just felt having a different flavor to the second line would have been really nice. All right, we're continuing. Sorry, the battle hasn't been very exciting because I'm trying not to get dev struck here. We are continuing to shoot at this Iowa. I want to say, I believe in that screen where Wargaming attempts to tell you stuff about this ship. They say sticky shot, but they also say arcing shot, like you can't, it has a bad trajectory. But we just shot over a huge island with a very large mountain on it and managed to hit the Iowa there. So, um, a benefit for that for this ship is you can still make those shots. We have switched our attentions to the Helena briefly, but I think we're going to shoot again at the Iowa. All right, maybe not. Gonna swing again at the Ochakov, who's still around. We do hit the island there. But we also hit the Ochakov at long range. So I don't have the artillery plotting room, but that's why I put on the spotter plane to make up for that. Quite honestly, if you put sims in here, I think your range is going to be like 19.2 kilometers, maybe, if you built it out for range. I just felt with this ship being fast, being able to duck in and out was more important. Having a quick reload was more important than having that artillery plotting room. So that's why I'm using the spotter plane on true long shots at the end of our range, 17 kilometers and out. And hey, we didn't have the plane up, and we smacked that Otago and got a Citadel on him. And you can see maneuverability. We're able to turn away in time to prevent heavy damage there. Here's the Bismarck. I was hoping he would turn fully broadside to me. I guess he's going to turn close enough broadside here. Trying to lead it so they impact the front of his bow. Not so great. I am attracting fire from another Georgia. I feel very confident he did not do the same build I did. Yep, he probably has the artillery plotting room. He's using sims. We got crushed there by the Bismarck. Unfortunately, we didn't really have a whole lot of a choice. If I had kept going without turning, I think the other Georgia would have lit me up. So that was 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Our teammate finishes off the Bismarck before the damage to us can get any worse. And you can see a good chunk of that damage is recoverable. My turrets are not going to turn quickly enough. If you forego the AA mod, I want to say your turret turn will only be a couple of seconds slower than your reload. So I think if you eschew the AA mod, your turret turn will be like 25, 24 seconds with this build. I just like to go max AA because I have a feeling that even though, I mean, maybe with the nerf happened today, this morning to the AP bombs. Maybe people will start playing less German carriers. I don't know. But what I do know is when I saw that hard mode achievement get 7 citadels, I was like, hey, I've got the Besser unlocked. Let's go get 7 citadels. And and I did. And I think a lot of people may have been doing that. So perhaps once this nerf kicks in, people will stop playing it as much. Don't know, hard to say. Pure speculation on my part. All right, so checking the scoreboard, we are winning. Uh, we've only lost 3 ships. They've lost 4 ships. The Georgia appears to be still, he's backing up a little bit. I really wish they had better zoom. These shells aren't going to impact where I wanted them to, but we do disable his turret, probably briefly. He is not shooting at me. He is shooting at someone else. And I dare say we were able to use our maneuverability to get to his side. These shells look a lot nicer. And there is a Citadel for kill number 1 of the game. 87,805 damage. All right, so we've got 2 cruisers over here. I'm really imploring the 3 ships behind me to come up and support me. I don't really know if they listen to any of that. Um, Looking for side shots, and I am not seeing any side shots. So I guess I'll shoot at the Ochakov, which has proved to be pretty elusive throughout the course of this battle. All right, maybe I'll switch to the Atago. See how this goes. I don't even remember. Pardon me. Had to get a little caffeine in me. So that was pretty horrific. Maybe that's an instance where the spotting plane or the artillery plotting room would have been beneficial. All right, Massachusetts hiding behind an island. These 2 cruisers are in full throated set me on fire mode. Much to my chagrin, I probably should have waited for my teammates to push up, if indeed they were going to do that. But let's face it, in this ship, I don't really think it is meant for a patient person. I have to damage con because there are a couple of fires. This Miyoko looks like it is sitting still in the water. And I've started to receive fire from the Massachusetts, who has backed out. All right, so he looked like he was sitting still, so we just aim right in the middle. At this point, I'm totally ignoring the 2 cruisers off of my bow, as they are not the most immediate threat to my health. The Massachusetts is. And I'm trying to get going to turn away a little bit here. We do dodge from somebody, probably the Miyoko. And we take a little bit of damage, but I think if we were not moving, that would have been a lot worse. So put another check in the box for the maneuverability of this ship with this build. All right, as you can see, we are really hurting. Thankfully, my teammate, this cruiser, I'm going to send him like one of those gift baskets or something with the peaches in it or pears or whatever it is. He is really helping me out. As you can see, will to rebuild is active. We need it to be active. We are on fire. I am going to damage con. And we are getting hit points put back together. I'm totally broadside to that guy, like alongside him. I don't want to turn away because I need the will to rebuild active to build my hit points back up. All right, so we get the Confederate because we damaged the Miyoko. And the Miyoko is near death, and I am going for it. So I bow in a little bit. 3 of the enemies are over there. The Ochakov still hitting me from the port bow. We do not get the killing blow on the Miyoko. We have a couple of fires. I am trying to get back to my teammate to help heal me up. I think about the Miyoko, but instead I'm going to shoot at the Massachusetts. The Miyoko dies. Those shells don't do a ton of damage. And I'm going to shoot my 3rd turret, the rear turret, at the Atago. I feel the end is near. I really appreciate this cruiser hanging out with me side by side. So maybe I prevented him from taking some hits there. It was worth it. I needed that boost in the will to rebuild. All right, so that is our. We're probably going to fast forward here. All right, so as I was saying, that is the end of the match. We won the game. We ended up with the Confederate medal, 113,658 damage and over 300,000 silver. And we ended up 2nd on our team, just under 2,000 base XP. Whether this build is for you, Lord only knows. I hope you enjoyed the video, and thank you for joining me for Fleet Week so very much. Take care, everybody.